Alright, so, I was just recording and I ended up pressing the red button and cutting the thing off. So, as I was saying, I've been doing more value investing recently. I've bought some Carnival Cruise stocks. They're around their all-time lows right now, not quite at them. I did get in at them, but I decided it was a better idea to sell those then and buy gold, which actually did work out as a play for me, because gold had dumped off massively too. So, I've also been buying some other stocks. I bought some Six Flags stocks again, and those are very low right now, compared to their usual height. It's usually Six Flags trades around $40-$50, I believe. If so, that's been very good for me. Or it will be very good, assuming we recover and people go back to going to amusement parks. I've also bought some dividend stocks. Thanks, I can't name any off the top of my head right now. But I've gone for high-yield stocks. That's over 7% dividends, which I know is risky, but this isn't the bulk of my capital. The bulk of my capital is in Safehaven assets and Safehaven speculations. Or rather, I wouldn't say Safehaven speculations. Gold stocks are very speculative, very risky. But they are also generally fairly safe during a recession. Because, of course, the price of gold generally goes up during a recession because investors flee to gold as a safe haven. So that's what I've been up to privately as far as investing goes. Now, another thing I've noticed, of course, is the government giving out a ton of money to corporations, bailing out the bad management as they always tend to do. Alright, a lot of people have bought the line that if the corporations are allowed to collapse, then you're just not going to have businesses anymore. That's complete bullshit. If they're allowed to collapse, they'll have to consolidate, they'll have to let go of their bad debt, and lose their credit scores, and then they'll have to fire their CEOs and hire better ones. And it was bad decisions on the part of the people in charge that led to those companies not being able to weather the recession without government help in the first place. If they had been run competently, then these companies could go a few months without income. But they can't. And because they weren't run competently. But when the government comes in and bails out these companies, what that does is encourage the shareholders and encourage the boards of directors to just leave whoever's in charge, because there was no real consequence to their bad decisions for the company and therefore for the bottom line of those people. So this is just bailing out bad management. It's not bailing out the economy. And of course, here's the government's throwing some crumbs to the people, which normally I'm fine with the idea of direct cash payments to the general public. I think that a universal basic income should eventually replace the welfare system that we have right now, assuming the government can kind of rein itself in a bit. And after that point, to maintain the purchasing power. But yeah, in the current situation where we have like a huge, what's the term? lack of trade, a shortage of goods, and not only a shortage of goods, but a glut of demand with that shortage of goods, because as people are trying to run to the stores and buy up all the toilet paper and all the food. And now the government's just going to hand them more money to bid up the prices higher. Now, so far in my area, I haven't seen a ton of inflation, but though I have seen some. Small things like increases in the price of rice by $1, maybe 50 cents. And increases in the price of some more luxury foods like ice cream. And of course, I actually saw an initial decrease in the price of toilet paper. Because, of course, you got all this demand, everyone was competing to get that demand. But then, as toilet paper becomes scarcer, because people just aren't producing that much of it, and compared to what people want to buy of it, well, what can you do? The businesses are going to raise prices. And so we have seen an increase in the price of toilet paper by $2 or $3 out here. I don't know how it is in the rest of the country, but I would assume it's the same. Honestly, I expected that when the stimulus checks started coming through, we were just going to see these prices soar through the roof. And then they would gradually drop down to high, but still lower than their highest levels. As companies start competing to get more people to buy from them as opposed to their competitor. Luckily, we've seen more of a gradual rise than a parabolic rise and then gradual decline in pricing. So that is interesting. I recently finished an economic course on the app Masterclass, taught by Paul Krugman, and he showed a pretty interesting correlation where he showed that even though the Japanese government prints all of this money, they are actually suffering a deflation problem, not an inflation problem. And they print it out, and they put it out into the economy. But people just store it up in safes in their home or store it in the bank. And I kind of find that weird, but then that might just be a cultural thing. Maybe Japan's just not as consumerist as America is. Because I am almost certain that if you did that here in America, well, we do that here in America, and we do see the price rises. And it's that come with the government pouring all this money in. Now they aren't massive price rises like you'd expect, even now with the shortages. But there are price rises. So that's kind of a non sequitur, but it's also pretty interesting. And Japan apparently has a tendency towards deflation. And even when the government adds more aggregate demand to the system, attempting to spur inflation. Because that is what they were going for, inflation. So, well, yeah. This is the continuation of number 7, and just gonna wrap this up. Thank you for listening.